I believe that all of us have masculine and feminine energy inside of us. Feminine energy is what we usually have always thought about traditionally as being, this is what little girls are. Little girls are born with 2 X chromosomes, and that means that they care about others. They tend to be more passive, more quiet. They are very nurturing. They're more receptive. They're more open. They listen. They're more value-oriented. They're emotional. They care. Those are feminine energy characteristics. Little boys who are born with the XY chromosome, we tend to think of, they are action-oriented, they wreck everything, they're busy, they always want to do things. I had my babies in 1982 and 1983, and at that time I said, there's no difference in boys and girls. They're all the same. It's all about the environment that I raised these kids. And these little girls sat there and they played with their Barbies, and my friend came over who had a little boy, and every time they were going to come over, they said, hide the toys! Eric's coming because he's going to wreck everything. So this is what these boys tend to have, more masculine energy, and girls tend to have more feminine energy. But we all have both energies in us, and we're socialized to develop the energies that we think are traditional for our sex. But I'm here tonight to say we all have masculine and feminine energy, and the feminine energy is the ability to create relationships. And the masculine energy is to turn those relationships into a business transaction. And you need both. All of us have both in us, and we want to nurture both those characteristics so that we can be more successful in our businesses. Now, there are people that have way too much masculine energy. These guys that have way too much masculine energy are like, the relationship is not important at all. I don't need relationships. All I need to do is show up, sign here, the deal is done, thanks very much. Well, that's a hazmat emergency. Put on the suit, because if we have too much of this, we have no more relationships. We have no repeat business. At the far other end of the spectrum, we have too much feminine energy. And these are people that say, let me help you, let me help you, let me help you, let me help you. I have an idea. I have another idea. I never get anything instituted, but I have lots of ideas. I worked with a woman like this once, and every time I'd go to her office, she was planning another trip, looking at different real estate. She never took the trip, never bought anything, but she was just, it was always more things, but nothing ever happened. So we need to use both energies. We need our feminine energy that says we're going to form these relationships. We're going to do for others and form relationships. And we need our masculine energy that says we're going to turn those relationships into business transactions. When I was growing up, in a small town in Saskatchewan, the only person I knew that owned a business was Miss Kitty on Gunsmoke. Well, the only woman. Now, remember Gunsmoke? Yeah. And Miss Kitty had a lot of cleavage, and she had a feather in her hair. Her saloon is where Matt Dillon hung out when he wasn't chasing stagecoach robbers. She didn't have a website, and she didn't have business cards. All she had was Sam, the bartender, that was kind of a speechless guy that she kept giving orders to. Well, when I showed up and started in business, I thought, all right, who do I emulate? Who are my role models? I knew enough to know that I shouldn't be following Miss Kitty. But who was out there? Just all the guys that I worked with. And how did they network? Well, they just had passels of business cards that they passed out as fast as they could to as many people as they could. Didn't matter whether they connected with them at all. What mattered was who was ordering the most business cards, because they were probably working the hardest. So it's understandable that we don't quite know where our place is. I'm here tonight to say that the traditional way of passing out business cards is not what it's about. It's about forming some good relationships, some connections. And you start that by using your feminine energy. And ultimately, you can turn those into business transactions. So rule number 2, our first one was networking is about forming relationships, and you form relationships by doing for others. Rule number 2 is use both your masculine and your feminine energy in networking. Your feminine energy to form the relationships, your masculine energy to turn those relationships into a business transaction.